Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this is 7 seas.
Alright guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're continuing on the tailgate skin with the Pro Touring wing. But first, before we do that, I'm going to continue by finishing up that little patch repair for the rust spot that we had. This is pretty much there. I need to finesse it a little bit more and trim it down, but it's going to take me a while. So I'll set you guys up right over here and we'll get to trimming this little patch panel, and then we can finally get ready to start doing the wing.
Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this is 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up.
Alright guys, so there we have it. Pretty much done with this. It wasn't an exact perfect fit because of these indentation areas. It seemed like the metal was a little bit higher than I anticipated, but it's gonna still have to be bodywork, so bodywork can get that. But other than that, that's pretty good. I already went ahead and sprayed the inside of it with some primer. So that's all good to go. And now I'm working on the inside tailgate handle. Now, I did watch another guy's video on this because since I've never done one of these, he did say that the inside of the handle, this part is actually too long, that it has a chance of hitting the skin on the outside. So being that I already cut the skin on the outside, I don't want to weld that first or bolt that in and then come to find out that it hits the new skin. So what I'm gonna do is take the old skin, clamp it back onto the tailgate, and then use that as a reference to make sure I'm gonna have enough clearance so this handle clears. And then the other thing that I saw, these only come with like 3 really small tacks. So the guy said that these will probably have a tendency to fail. So I'm gonna go back, kind of like what he did, and put a few more tacks in there or just fully weld it. And what I'll probably have to do is come in here, and I believe he took like a 1/4 inch or more off of the the bracket. So, all right, so yeah, gonna end up having to modify this in order to make it clear, but first thing I'm gonna do is take that old skin and clamp it on. I hope I have enough vice grips. I think I only have 2 or maybe just 1. Well, that's gonna be a little bit more of a challenge. The only other thing I can think of is maybe tacking it. I have some other brackets, oh, hold on. Well, I have one there. I have these other clamps, but I don't know if these will work. I'll have to give these a try. So let me set this up and see if I can get these clamps to work.
That's ISO. Rack it up, I got a bit of the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, she got her hands on her knees and she bringing the cake out. Smoke it up, I got some gas, some packs, I'm up in the greenhouse. Ball it up, I'm with the gang, we taking shots off the rebound. Look at my posters, say now, I've been humble too long, yeah. Tell them all to stay calm.
Alright, so it's 50 degrees. My modified handle is all done, welded up and painted. But I'm having to use my heater over here to kind of get it to dry a little bit. But I don't know if you can, I'm trying to get some good lighting, but see, I did the full weld across the bottom so it doesn't fail. And then that other stitch right there is where I cut the 1/4 inch off and shortened it. And on the inside, it's hard to do it with one hand, but I had to trim a little bit more off of right in there to clear the handle. But now it's like, it fully clears. The handle opens, works fine. Now I'm just waiting for this thing to dry. I might have to just leave it overnight and just come back at this tomorrow. Next, what I have to do now is pretty much start working on the skin, but as I mentioned in the last video, I don't have my hammer and dolly with me. Today is still Sunday, so tomorrow I'll be able to start finally welding in the new Pro Touring skin. So that ought to be fun. So I'm gonna call it a day for today, since I have to let this dry. And then tomorrow I will pick this back up and we will continue on the Pro Touring wing. All right guys, so it's been a few days since I worked on it. Been busy at stuff with work. There it goes. But I finally have my dollies home from work so I can do the skin. And here's the nice little body hammer that I'm gonna be using to fold that skin over. And we finally got the paint. Should be dry, but it'll give you guys a better look at it now that it's dry. But got it all nicely painted up. You can see where we shortened it, and I finished doing those welds where it only had 3 tack welds. So just pretty much going to end up sitting right there. I already had the bolts in there, made sure it test fitted it before I painted it, so it all fits good. So handles, inside handles done. However, what I did see somebody recommend do is, instead of tapping these in, they actually rivet it in. So I'll have to get my my manual rivet gun and use that to rivet the handle in, instead of actually using the screws that it comes with this, because people said that the screws have a tendency to fail. So probably gonna have to bring home a rivet gun to do that. But today I'm gonna go ahead and start doing the skin, the outside skin on it. So now I'll be able to take those clamps off, and we're gonna do the same thing with the clamps, but we're gonna clamp on the new tailgate skin on there. And gonna do some tacks on it, get it centered up, tack it in some corners so it doesn't move on me. And then we'll start folding the edges over, and I'll give you guys a good shot of pretty much how it, good angle of how you're supposed to be flipping those edges on the tailgate skin. So we're gonna go ahead and let me set this up real quick, flip it over, get the old skin off, and I'll go ahead and set the new one on there real quick.
They be lost in the sauce. Took a loss, that's your loss. Had to get my point across. Heard them lasers talking out and we don't pay that no mind. Didn't need to watch them know that I'll be here in no time. Put a candle on it, had to tell them they could blow mine. Lights, camera, action, shows. Smoking that dope from Edmond. We the new meth in Redmond. We ain't real blood, but we brethren. Run up a check and it's pending. She talking my news, we'll send them. The fam, you a dead man. Jesus peace on my pendant. And we still independent. ISO, yeah, we trending. Watch what you say, don't offend them. They keeping it real, they commend them. People like get your wife pregnant, but I ain't trying to be dependent. I need money never ending. I'm talking 100%. I need the owner, you rent it. Whoa, step in the spotty and watch how they panic. Yeah, we the duo, you know we dynamic. When we outside, we be stopping the traffic, breaking their necks, them they upset. How them boys doing more when they got less? How they on this and how they on that? How they got this and yeah, how they got that? Too busy watching us, they need to stop that. Talking my shit, you know we gon' pop that. See it, I like it, yeah, I'm gon' cop that. When we on top, how you on top that? Nah, you ain't got nothing on us. I'm steady calling your bluff. Pass me the split, need me a puff.
All right, so it was a bit of a challenge, but we got the tailgate centered and straightened out. Okay, so right here in the center, you can see that it has very little lip on the skin, tailgate skin itself, to fold over, and that's on both sides. But what you mainly want to look for is just to center it up. You just want to get the whole skin centered up, and I think what I'm going to end up doing, what's possibly going to have to be done instead, well, this is going to have to be folded over. This, you just take your dolly on the bottom side and hammer on the edge of this, which will be right on the corner of this, and then just lightly tap it in. This corner may have to be trimmed down because I think this lip is too big to fit in the inside of this, the actual channel right here. So I'm probably gonna have to trim this a little bit so it'll fold over completely. And as for the edge, what I think I'm gonna have to do here is, instead of trying to fold this lip over, being that it's such a thick piece of metal, what will probably have to be done instead is I'll use my clamps here and just keep clamping them down little by little on each side. And what I'll do is I'll jump back and forth from one side to the other to keep from overheating the exterior of the panel. This will be flush with the back of the gate, or the back of the tailgate. So I'll, same thing, do tacks all along, but just move your tacks from one side to the other. Just skip all the way across. Don't continuously go from one point right next to the other, because what that will do is it'll overheat your panel and that will cause it to warp. So by the time you get down there, this panel may have already warped and gone up like this so much. And if you're already welded it up to here, you're gonna have a really hard time trying to get this to line up. So what I'm gonna do is tack it right here on one side, get that lined up, tack it up on the very corner, and then make sure my center is lined up. And then I'll leave that tack, maybe tack that a little bit better. And then I'll do the center, and then I'll go jumping from one side to the other, maybe to like right here somewhere, then right here, and then I'll go to the edges, do one in the back, do one over here in the front, and then go to this one in the front, and then go that one to the back. Just skipping back and forth to keep yourself from overheating the skin itself. So once we get that welded or tacked in, what you're gonna have to do is go in here in the edge, and you're gonna have to, let me zoom in. See how the gate, the actual shell of the tailgate curves like this. So the shell is curving like this, that inner lip. So that's the curve that you're gonna have to have on the bedside or of the new tailgate. So it matches that curve and it fits flush up against your taillights in the top and the lower side of the bed. Otherwise, this lip right here will be hitting either the bedside or the taillight. So same thing up here. Once we get up in here, I'm gonna have to trim this just a little bit back, just to trim this a little bit back, and then put that filler piece in there, weld that in. But I kind of want to wait till I get the truck back. That way I can tack these onto the truck, because these will be more secure or more precise of where they're gonna go. And then once I can get these tacked onto the truck, I'll know exactly how much I need to trim off of this to have a really nice tight gap on there. So the trimming of that upper part will probably be until I can get back from vacation, and I can tack these corner pieces onto the bedsides. So for now, what I'll go ahead and do, as I mentioned, is I'm gonna trim this bottom edge a little bit, go ahead and start tacking the edges of it, and I'll just start grinding little by little on the edges. Just kind of probably give me about like a 1/16 or an 1/8 inch of gap right here, just to have enough place for the tack weld. And then we'll just have to wait till we get the truck back and test fit everything, and then we'll finally be able to, if we have any spots that we need to body work on the outside, we'll do the outside, and we'll body work the inside right here where we did the patch panel. Go ahead and put the inside tailgate handle back in it, and then that will be it. We'll be ready to move on to the next thing. So now that you know what I'm going to be doing, I will go ahead and set you guys up right here, and we'll start tack welding this skin in little by little. All right, so after a good little workout from that body hammer, we got the nice little folded edge of the skin. That's probably the hardest part on this whole deal, is folding that lip over. Looking at it now, it looks like I would have had enough space to leave that extra piece of metal in there, but I just went ahead and cut it off just to be sure. But I was a little paranoid. Usually this is the kind of lip that folds over on the door skins of the Toyotas that I do. So that's why I ended up cutting a little bit over. But anyways, that lip is done. I did go ahead and do my little stitch welds across the side. I'm still kind of, what's the word? Like I don't know if it's paranoid, but I kind of want to wait till I have the truck so I can perfectly grind this down. Or actually, you know what? Give me a second, I got an idea. All right, real quick before I do what I was about to do, here's pretty much a look on the outside, how the tailgate skin now looks with the folded edge. Now I did have to cut a little bit right here where that line is. They do mark where you need to cut a little slot so you can finish folding that edge over right there. But like I said, I'll wait until I know how much I'm going to need to grind down. But I mean, other than that, that's pretty close right there. Everything looks good. That little stain is from my clamp. When I heated up the, or when I welded the skin on, it melted my little clamp a little bit. But surprisingly, as thick as the metal was, I'm surprised it curved with the shell. So here, let me get my deal, what I was gonna do real quick. All right, so this is what I was thinking. Laying the old skin on top of the new one and kind of using this as a template for my curve. But I don't know. I need to cut this upper edge off so it slides under where the spoiler is gonna be. So I might have to do that and see how it lines up. But if this works, really all I'm gonna try to do is right in the center of the skin, line it up to where it's centered left to right. This little notch is gonna let it set in place, so it's gonna have the height right where it's at. So I just need to set the width, and with that being set in place, all I gotta do is either take a little scribe, a little flathead screwdriver, or a pen that'll mark this really good, a little fine point pen, and mark that little curve. And what I'll do is I'll grind it like a 1/16 away from that line, because we did grind a little bit off of the old tailgate skin where it rolled over. So what I want to do is leave just a little bit extra, just kind of to like mimic that little curve that it had on the old skin where it folded over the shell. And then that way it'll line up nicely against where the factory lines were. So I'm gonna cut the top of here right here. I'm gonna cut the top of the old skin right here, so I can see if I can get it to sit down a little bit more flush. And then I'll see how it sits up against the new skin. And if I like it, I'll go ahead and try to attempt to mark my line and see if I want to cut it, or if I want to just wait till I get the truck. So let me mark up my line real quick. With that skin laying down on top of the new one, now you can see how much I need to cut. And right in this area, it doesn't look like I need to cut that much. So I should be good right there. That's about how much of a lip I want to leave. So I just got to follow that same curve all the way along the old skin and grind down the new one. And we should be pretty good to go. So it's pretty close right there. I think I'm gonna mark my line there, or just leave it clamped to where I can grind it, and just take it down little by little and until I feel comfortable with it. And this for sure up here, I want to leave alone until I can get the truck back and weld those corner pieces on. But other than that, we're pretty much getting there, and we'll have to have the truck back in order to finish up this tailgate. All right, well, I think that'll do it for now. We're going to be pretty much finished up right now for this video. It's probably going to be a really short video, but I am going to be leaving for vacation in 2 days, so we won't be able to continue working on this until I return. So stay tuned. I do have a few videos in mind that I want to do while I'm on vacation, but as of now, I'm going to call him and see if he wants to come pick this up or leave this with me. I'm going to try to see if he wants to leave it with me because it is bare metal, so we don't want it to rest on him. But we will continue this after I get back from vacation, finishing up the end caps, doing the caps on the bedside, and then he still has more parts coming for that truck. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. We're almost at 7,000 subscribers. I think as of today, when I'm filming this video, we're 180 subscribers, I think, away from 7,000, my 7,000 goal. So we have 2 weeks. Make it happen, guys. Help me out. Share the videos. And yeah, let's hope for a better year. Hopefully we don't have any more mishaps like this year and I don't fall off the map like I did last time for several months. So thanks for watching, guys, and we will continue this on a future video, and I will catch you on the next video.